name's Alejandra. I'm 18, um, and I'm Cuban. My grandpa was the first one on my mom's side, and he actually brought my aunt. She was a minor. My mom was married, and she was an adult. She couldn't come. Then my grandma came, and so did her mom. It was like a lottery system. Then my other aunt and uncle got to come too, and then my grandpa on my dad's side came through a third country. So then we just happened to be the last ones left. My parents, my brother, and my grandma on my dad's side, we all came at the exact same time. When we first found out, I mean, it was a whole process. Like, we knew that this was something that my parents were trying to do since I was like 7, but we didn't really know that it was finally happening. I think I had just turned 9 when we started doing the actual interviews, because the process to come here legally from Cuba it's super long. So I was probably like just turned 9. I don't think I understood the implications of what it meant to like come here. So I was like, yeah, no, this is awesome. My brother was actually he would be sad and he would be like, I don't want to go. I was like, yeah, I want to go. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see my family, but I don't think I ever really understood the implications until like it was happening. So even up to the night before, I remember, because the night before, we couldn't stay at our house anymore. The Cuban government takes back the house unless you have a direct family member that you can leave it to. So our house got taken away maybe 3 weeks or 2 weeks before we came. So we had been staying with one of my cousins, and the night before, everybody was crying and just, super sad. The kids were crying, the grown-ups were crying. Everyone was just like, it was depressing. And I was super hyped. I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna be on a plane. I'm gonna be going to a different country. What are you guys sad about? And then the day of, I was like, wait, like for real? Oh, never mind. Let me just have my breakdown now.
Eventually, she had to leave the school when we were just close to come in, and she was only 8 years old, so maybe she didn't understand, totally what was going on. Was hard when we had to leave our house. We have to move like for 2-3 weeks, I think, with all the relatives, because and still living in the same town. So I think they were confused, probably. I don't know exactly, but this is what I think. I didn't try to be talking a lot about this, because for me it was painful. For her mom probably was, so I think it was also painful, and we tried to avoid the pain for them.
Because of the way we had come, we actually had to stay in the airport for, I think it was like 7 hours in this little waiting area so that they could get our paperwork ready. So yeah, no, that was horrible. Because you're a little kid, you're impatient, you don't know what this whole world looks like. So my brother and I had these Yu-Gi-Oh cards that we didn't know how to play with. But yeah, I remember we were sitting there for like 6-7 hours just being super annoying, playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And then our paperwork got done before my grandmother's. So then they had to pretty much, it took longer because we didn't want to leave without her. So then that took super long. My brother and I were being super annoying. Honestly, looking back, I probably just feel bad for my parents. Yeah, no, that process was horrible. But then, we got out, and it was like, it was just this moment of, you get to see everyone that you've met a couple times, but, you don't really know them. You know of them, but you don't really know them. So then it was like this moment of seeing the whole family come together. My parents were crying, my grandparents were crying. It was just like a whole situation, yeah. At first, we were living with my grandmother, and she had made this makeshift room for my parents in the dining area. And then my brother and I had bunk beds in the living room. And then 6 months in, we moved into a one-bedroom apartment. Didn't have central air. It had one of those box airs in the bedroom. My brother and I were in the living room for a while on the bunk beds, which was horrible because my brother was letting us sleep. And honestly, that thing would creak like it was gonna fall on you. And then eventually we got moved into the room, so it was like 4 people in a room. And we've been working our way up, 2-bedroom apartments, then we got a house. And eventually we got to, a house, everybody has their own rooms. That's where we live right now. So, we've been working our way up, but that was really tough, because yeah, my parents had a really good reason. And, I did get to be with my whole family, but as a kid, you don't understand that they did it to give you or to give me a whole opportunity, a whole new life. You think, well, like I was doing so good. I had my friends, I had my huge room. Why am I here? So, but yeah, no, you definitely. Now I thank them for it. Now I wouldn't go back. But it was kind of weird because ironically for kids, for adults it's obviously a lot more, you don't have any freedom. But for kids, Cuba's really free. You get to just be anywhere. There's no stranger danger, especially for me. I mean, I lived in a really small town. Like, literally, you either knew everyone or you knew of everyone or your parents knew everyone. So, like, I would just go out with my friends and I would, not even tell my parents sometimes and just go to my grandma's house or ride a bike or go to, like, a farm. But then here, it was really weird because we couldn't do that. There's actually cars coming everywhere, so you don't want to get hit by a car. There's people you don't know. You don't know your neighbor, or at least that's how it felt for us, right? And then the kids all spoke English, um, and we didn't. So my brother and I were very shy. So we banded together, I think, a lot, but we just didn't want to play with those kids because we didn't. Either we wouldn't be able to understand their conversations or their references, or we would have to force them to like change what they were doing so that they could include us, and we didn't want to do that. So I don't think I made friends with anyone in my grandma's neighborhood, and like she still lives there, and those kids are still there, and I still don't know their names. So yeah, no, that was the first couple months was really weird.
When we moved at the beginning, I think she was excited. But like after maybe 3 4 days, one day she just get out of the house, and sit and start just like crying. So in some way, but probably her mom remembered this, right? I think maybe she was like missing, the friends, the people that were part of, not our close family, but for these Spanish people, everybody's family. Neighbors are family. So in some way, I thought she was like missing that.
I started fourth grade here. When I walked into my fourth grade class, my teacher, she spoke Spanish, but it was like broken Spanish. And it was like homegirl Spanish was not ideal. So I would have the kids have to translate stuff for me. So, it was kind of like they had kicked me into the deep end of the pool. Either I swam or I would drown. So I picked it up really quickly. And then I also really enjoyed it. I really liked English. I remember we'd have to do book reports, and I would just sit with my dad in like one of those English to Spanish dictionaries and just translate everything word for word. And that really, like, you'd be surprised at how quickly you pick it up when you're reading the definition 4 or 5 times from a dictionary. So I picked up English relatively quickly. And then after that, it was just, high school was perfecting English, and now college will be the next stage. I don't know what that is.
I think she took in a very good way just to be here, and she started learning really fast the English, faster than her brother, and she was always like trying to go ahead, to move forward, to have good grades, to do a good job in the school. So I think she took it like positive, in a positive way.
So right now, my biggest accomplishment is college. I mean, I always thought I would go to college, but that kind of gets set back a little bit when you're an immigrant. You know, I have this. I'm like a super anxious person, and I always put myself in the worst possible position. So when we first came, it was like, well, I'm never gonna learn the language. Then I learned the language, and I was like, well, I'm never gonna have the best grades, so I'm never gonna get into college. And then you actually start learning about college in high school, and they start telling you about like cost and all that, and it's like, I can't afford college, and it's just pressure on top of pressure on top of pressure until it's like a boiling point. So then when I finally got into Barry, I was like super excited about it. I got, financial aid and scholarships and stuff. I didn't even have to pay for it, or as of right now, I didn't. So I was, it's just, it feels like all these like years of struggling a little bit with like learning the language and studying extra hard, to get as far as the people who were born here and just have a primary language that is English. Having to do all that, it paid off. It got me where I needed to be, and hopefully it will continue to pay off, and I'll actually get somewhere, not just college. But as of right now, yeah, college, I'm in a really good place.